Did you know that short trading weeks provide better opportunities for our option trading watch list? So much so, this past week, with just 4 days of trading, you will not believe how many 10 baggers we traded on the successful trading weekly watch list. The answer to that and a full breakdown of those trades coming up next. Hello traders, welcome to Successful Trading. This is Telex. In this video, I'm going to break down all of the trades that we made this week on the Successful Trading watch list, and then I will share with you my preferred strategy, which happened on Friday, not on one but on 2 stocks, and we will also give you a preview of next week watch list. Without any further ado, let's just go ahead and start it. Please, if you are not a subscriber yet, please hit the subscribe button. That will help the algorithm. Also, if you find the content of this channel helpful, a like will go a long way into increasing the visibility of this education channel. Our Tuesday started. Pre-market, pretty much red all over the place. There is a gap down, especially in the text, as you can see on here. So the watch list on Tuesday started with bearish momentum across the board. You can see puts here all over the place. You could have traded Hood, for instance. Amazon was another one that's gap down significantly. And then for us, the trade that's really resonated was a stock that we mentioned in the previous week watch list preview. Reddit. This is a very powerful stock that has been trading bullishly recently. So it was a great trade on here at the time with 380% win. But that was not all, folks, for Tuesday, right? Because after hours on Tuesday actually provided an opportunity, none other. I don't think I've gotten that one before. This is definitely a first. So on Tuesday after hours, a news, we were trading puts, and you can call it random, we can call it whatever you like. So there's a typo here. This is not 1,000%. This is actually 10,000%, because this 1 cent contract, and in the Discord channel, I was providing this trade. I will show you shortly that, hey, for us, we wanted to get the so-called lotos, right, into the after hour. Why? Because that's actually a strategy. There's an imbalance that I can explain, a technique that we have been using for a while that generate 10 baggers at the closing. So 1 cent contract went to $1. That's 10,000%, my friend. So this is the full day of that trade. Tuesday actually was not that bad in terms of trading QQQ, because the chart here initially provided winning on calls, and then on puts, and then on calls again. So going into that closing, definitely calls, cheap calls were available, and that's what transpired on the news from Google. That's just make QQQ gain a couple of dollars in a few minutes. That generated that 10 bagger. So that was Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, obviously, because of that gap down, the news that came on Google, on Wednesday, the watch list started with a massive percentage gain on that Google trade. So we are going to look at it here. So let's go and get that. Here's Google. 1,700%, but not so much into that. I mean, here for us in pre-market, obviously you see the gap, and then you could put in a trade from the get-go and capture some of this percentage on Google. Other movers on the same day, Reddit, that we can see there. So that was on Tuesday, on Wednesday, rather, September the 3rd, and then we go to Thursday, September the 4th. On our watch list, we had another eventful opportunities with several trades that materialize in our favor. So the first one on here on the 4th is Amazon. Let's go here. Amazon from 16 cents all the way to 67 cents. Yeah, that's when you have this big percentage. If you want to know actually one of the secret or the recipe or how 10 baggers come about, there is an article, a great article written by yours truly on successfultrading.com, the blog that's in support with this channel, or vice versa. This channel support that blog. So there's complementary information that you can always get further detail on the blog. So some of the characteristic is the starting price of your option, right? So 16 cents contract. So here for us here, we are trading a momentum on this watch list. So when we see it at 16 cents, 20 cents or so forth, that there is a full set of rules on how actually we enter this trade on the watch list. So here, Amazon here provided another great trade on Thursday. So going into Amazon on Thursday, that was one of them. I want to jump here into the 10 baggers. I think that's where I shared it, because while that was going on all the while throughout the day on Thursday, this is actually a trade here that was stress. Why? Because QQQ kept grinding up. So we are looking at the 575 calls, and we didn't have to go through after hours like it was on Tuesday. No, this was straight up looking at the charts, right? 8 cents contract, that's just found their way all the way before the close to a full dollar. So you could have done scale exit on here. If you don't know what that is, we teach that here in this channel. So from 8 cents to 50 cents to 75 cents, all the way to a full dollar. So that was the one of the major highlights, really, that you could have traded just directionally on Thursday from our option list. Then we went into Friday. There was the job report in the morning, and then the market gapped down. Well, some stock gapped down, because you wouldn't want to say that in the case of one of the big winner today for us. It did not gap down. Au contraire, on Friday, here is how the watch list started its day. AMD was gapping down, so this stock has been beaten down. We will review charts next week, most likely. So the 157 puts here went from $1.37 low of the day here to $5 and so by the time I posted this, which was just literally 40 minutes into the open, and then they carried on, right? That momentum carried on all the way to $6.50. So you definitely had an opportunity to trade that. Other puts were winning as well. NVDA, yeah, it was mirroring AMD, so we traded puts on NVIDIA in a nice way. Hood was also bearish. Hood now looked like this trade. 6 cents, folks. 6 cents. So this is another 10 bagger here I didn't even mention, because how do we know is this a 10 bagger intraday, right? So the lowest price here you could have gotten 6 cents. But imagine that even if you enter this trade at 12 cents. Well, my friend, 12 cents when you get to $1.12 or $1.19, that's another 10 bagger out there. So that's one I didn't even highlight it. I'm just actually taking account of that now, because I wanted to show you a the cheapest 10 bagger that we gotten on Friday was on a stock that's by now you should be familiar with. I call it provided feedback. So we'll be talking about the strategy I'm using on this. Is a strategy that I have not yet depicted on this channel. So, but 1 cent straight up, 1 cent contract here on the calls, rallying all the way to 14 cents. But that's not all, because actually after hours when I was preparing this is the timestamp here, 11 a.m. 11:57 Central Time. So at 14 cents those contract, right? Look actually here. Later on, I got the full chart of this option. So the September 5th Friday expiration, 14 calls, my friend, 1 cent, 17 cents high here at this level, 23 cents, 40 cents overall. So this year, it's showing you how you could have actually done scale exit. That's we like. So meaning you got a bunch of these. Let's even say, let's say you get 10 of these. That's $10 of real money. Yeah, because it's 1 cent, right? So, well, if you sell half here, my friend, you already have 16 baggers. Then here, you can sell another 2. And you keep a couple of runners that go 40 baggers. Yes, that's how fruitful those trades were today. Now, finally, last but not least, I want to share the setup on a couple of stocks. That's actually that my setup that I like the most on a couple of stocks. It was the same setup. The setup if I can go and get that, you will see that's here coming shortly. So we talked about gap down, gap up that happened, right? So QQQ gapped up outside of the upper Bolinger Band. I need to show that. Let me properly show that. I know that. Let me properly show that. I need to go to the chart and show that on the chart. I was showing you the chart of the option that I traded. But let me show you the chart on here for QQQ. So on Webull, I quickly go and I use the 15 minutes interval. Here you go. This is the setup I like. What's the setup? The setup is a gap up starting outside of the upper Bollinger depicted in red here. Yeah, this is it here. So I traded the 578 puts, and throughout, all that you can do is to add more contract and start taking scale exit profit at 200%, 300% until you run out of contract. So this setup on here happened, and I used that successfully on QQQ. Another stock that I'm going to show you where I use that is the stock that had earnings. That's why I told you I have a strategy on how to trade earnings, not gambling before, but after. That stock is none other than AVGO. AVGO, Broadcom, if you will, it's a stock that we love on here because that stock has just been on a tear. But in pre-market, Broadcom gapped up 15-16%. So yesterday at close, this stock was trading at, thank you for making this big here, close 306. This morning, 50 points higher, 356 outside of the 50-minute upper Bollinger Band. That's my setup. Yeah, my setup on here through a strategy called a gangster trade led me into the 335 puts. And guess what, folks? A lot of patience here in this zone here because it was just playing with it. But as long as the yellow line, that's the EMA 8, was so far away, I just kept being patient. And I got rewarded. So that's full trade is detailed in our Discord because I was providing those updates. So really, the answer to the question, how many 10 baggers we got this week, if I try to count. So QQQ on Tuesday, yeah. Google gap up on Wednesday morning. And then there was the Amazon 14 baggers that we saw. QQQ from 8 cents to $1. That was already 4. So now we count the Friday ones. So on the Friday ones, I showed you a sound which went 1 cent contract to 17, 23, and 48 cents. We showed you AMD gap down. That went all the way. So my friend, that's 6. Oh yeah, and then there was the one on Hood that we didn't say. There were 7 10 baggers this week alone that from the watch list that we're looking. So in just 1 minute, I'm going to show you the watch list that we are looking at for next week. It's already available. We post that on Thursdays, as you know. So subscription trade alert. So here we go. Oops, that's the expiration. That's not the expiration. Subscription trade alert. I had to go through. Let's see. Okay, subscription trade alerts. If I can get into the right channel. Here we go. So this is what we are trading for next week. If you create this, you can follow along and with the help of the video on how to trade our watch list. So a couple of setup that I'm looking for here. The stock called Sound is definitely a stock that I want to see what is progress overall. So if I go to Webull and I look at its daily chart, I would like to reveal what we like so much about this. The fundamentals are great, don't get me wrong, but since it's earning, it hasn't been straightforward. So a little bit of volatility. So this stock had an earning. We made great trades the day after the earning, right? So, okay, went to 17, then gave it all back, found support in the range of 11, 12. And now for the last 7 days or so, it has been continuously grinding up. Today, it dripped below the EMA 8, that's the yellow line, and then rallied to the close, throughout the close. So if I go to 15 minutes here, we can see that rally. This is the rally on this rally that I showed you where 1 cent contract on the 14 calls became 17, 23, and 40 cents eventually. So next week, definitely looking at the weekly channel. The RSI is not that bad. The RSI is sitting at 57.84. There is not that much room on the upper Bolinger Band, but that's okay. The stock can actually, if it shows strength, 15, target 15.5. So We have a strategy on here of covered call, which, oh, I just gave it away, which we have been using. We will be unveiling that in next week blog, and then along with the subsequent video. So that's it for this week. It took us a little bit more than usual, but with so many 10 baggers, what can one do? Wherever you're watching from, thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.